Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL's College Football Gambling Locks Week 5. We now have 3 people over 500 in Larson. He is working and grinding. He is getting closer to that line that everybody needs to be above to keep sanity during the college football season.
Amen.
Does he do it this week?
Yeah.
Maybe he stops betting on Clemson. Just kidding. I think Clemson will.
That may not change.
Do we want to start off? I mean, we got a couple crap games. I got the Sam Houston game is off. Anyone got Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee State, Temple, Tulsa?
No.
I have Temple.
Temple plus 3 against Tulsa.
Yeah, I grabbed it plus 4. I would still bet it at plus 3. Temple actually was a little bit – I called the Miami Temple score almost exactly last week, but they're able to get some big plays on offense, and Tulsa really, really sucks and cannot pass the ball at all, which is one of Temple's strengths on defense. And Tulsa got a little bit lucky last week. They played Northern Illinois. Rocky Lombardi got hurt. Tulsa was lucky to win the game. So I think Temple wins outright tonight.
Okay. Western Kentucky stinks. Middle Tennessee could win outright. Western Kentucky is a bad football team.
Okay.
Yeah, not betting in either. There's NC State.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Middle Tennessee State, but Western Kentucky is a terrible football team.
NC State and Louisville.
Need it for the Louisville win total over.
A lot of public on Louisville. All right, moving on to Friday. We get some Friday night.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Friday night lights in the Pac-12. Oregon State and Utah.
No. We skipped
Utah, 3.5-point underdogs against the Beavers on the road. 44.5 is the total. Anyone like anything in this game?
Hold on. We're skipping Jacksonville State and Sam Houston State. And
it's just because it says off for me.
It's not off. It's Jacksonville State's a 6.5-point favorite. I'm all over the Jacksonville State spread. I'm also on Sam Houston State team total under. Sam Houston State has 10 points in 3 games. They have legitimately one of the worst offenses I've ever seen in my entire life. Right now, they're averaging 167 yards per game and 3.3 points per game. Their team total is 14.5, and Jacksonville State's only allowed over 15 points one time this season, at least. I'm all over Jacksonville State here. Sam Houston State is awful. I'm taking the team total under and spread.
And they covered their first 2 games despite scoring, I think, 0 points and 3 points.
Against Air Force. Yeah. Okay, anyways.
All right. Now we can move on to the Pac-12 game on Friday. Utah and Oregon State. I am going to be betting the Utes. The Utes they just get it done, man. They just cover against these Pac-12 teams. They get it done in these games. I think they're going to win outright. I do respect Oregon State. I know it's going to be a crazy environment on a Friday night. But listen, this is just what Utah does. Like, they just go out there and win games in these situations. I'll take the points, 3.5. Maybe it's a field goal game. I think it's close either way. They're going to muck it up. It's going to be ugly. Give me the Utes.
If you think Utah wins outright, you should probably take the under because that means that Oregon State's not going to score.
Yeah, I like the under. I'm not going to take it, though, but
DJ Uiagalelei papered a lot, but,
it costs like $30 to get into this game. That's pretty shocking.
This is a huge game, too. Like, I'm very excited to watch this game, even if it is.
And Corvallis is nothing to scoff at. I mean, they've got a good environment there. That's crazy.
I think Oregon State's. I want to say they're 11-1 against the spread in their last 12 home games, and the one
that's what you got to be careful with.
Yeah,
Jonathan Smith is a monster.
Yeah, I don't care. Utah. La Tech and UTEP.
2 teams I would spit on collectively if I had the chance. I bet both of these teams this year, and they both just put out disgusting performances. Neither.
BYU and Cincinnati. That's an ugly game too.
BYU as a home dog is interesting, but they opened it -3 and now they're +2.
That's really strange. Yeah.
Hogs and Texas A&M.
This game's always close, so if I had to give a pick, I'm not going to. I would say Arkansas +6. This game is always close. Every year I feel like it's in double OT.
Yeah, Jerry Jones Bowl. Got to go with the Hogs.
I'm betting the Hogs. Hogs +6. Give it to me. Let's go, baby.
I would buy it to 7 if you want to do that because that game's always going to overtime.
Pig suey. Minnesota and ULL.
Careful here. Minnesota, ULL last week, I believe they beat Buffalo. I'm not sure. That was one of my picks, but I ended up backing off of it at the end because ULL's quarterback was hurt. Minnesota just lost outright to Northwestern. This line does not make a lot of sense to me. This is a fishy one.
Penn State and Northwestern. Jesus, I can't believe Northwestern still plays football. Somehow
What's
they're
the under?
good.
Oh, the under on this game is 46.
Yeah, I took the under here. Penn State's defense is one of the best in the country.
They're great.
Yeah, they are unbelievable. Not that holding Iowa to 0 points is, you can hang your hat on that. Iowa's offense is pathetic. But Penn State's defense is one of the best in football. Northwestern beat Minnesota outright. I just think no matter what, we should take, similar to whoever Iowa plays, Penn State, we should take the under every single time, especially
I have been. I've
when
been doing it with
these
Michigan too.
These Big Ten games that are coming up, Ohio State, Michigan, when they play Penn State, we should all take unders. I'm taking the under in this game, 46.
I'll go under. I'll go with you. I'll go under as well.
How
I
does Northwestern score here? I think their team total is going to be like 9.5 or 10.
think it's
I don't know.
10.5 right now, which is also very tempting.
That's tempting.
It's also minus 155 if that tells you anything.
All right, we got Colorado and Southern Cal. I think one of my bets is going to be on, but I'm going to double up on this game. I am going to take Southern Cal minus the 21.5, and I'm going to take the over. I think Colorado does score some points, but I think Southern Cal puts up 70, maybe by themselves.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I am taking the exact same thing. The thing is last week I felt very confident in Oregon because of the beef. I mean, Colorado's got no ass in their pants in the trenches. Not that USC is just, these beasts in the trenches, but they're still better than Colorado. The thing is, anybody can score on US. If us four put together an offense and Jake was our quarterback, we could score 14 points on this USC defense. They're just garbage. They're dog shit. This over is just so juicy. First one of the season I'm on, Chase. I hope I don't jinx you.
Yeah, I do agree. I think I like the over in that one too. USC's D line's not that bad. They've been pretty impressive. It's the Colorado trenches that are gonna really keep them from challenging.
I have a rare. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Larson.
I was gonna say I have the USC minus 12 from a few weeks ago. I don't know what I would do at this number though at 21.
That's wild.
I have a rare player prop. I have Marshawn Brooks over 87 rushing yards.
Marshawn Brooks.
Marshawn Lloyd, not
Marshawn Brooks. This is an NBA pod now.
Yeah, Marshawn Lloyd. Sorry.
All right, then we go to Clemson and Syracuse, another game that I'm on. I love Clemson minus 6.5 here.
Do you really? I thought
Yeah.
you were going to clown me for liking Clemson here.
No, I love Clemson here. Here.
No, I
They're a
totally
better
agree.
team.
They were absolutely the better team against Florida State, and they got unlucky. Garrett Riley deserves his head on a spike, but I don't feel any differently about Clemson than I did last week.
How is it
Larson.
Garrett Riley's fault?
That
Larson,
overtime call to call a wide receiver screen
was
on
horrible.
3rd and 6 was awful.
Sure. The executive decision to pull somebody off fucking Wall Street to kick you fucking field goals should have Jabo in his grave. That is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my entire life in college football. You are Clemson. You can't get anybody better.
Yeah,
They should
Larson,
have
I was
had
going to
one
say,
minute.
I
They
do
were
have.
playing for a field goal in that last possession. They played for a field goal. Did not
They
make
should
it.
they should have had a women kick from the soccer team.
That would have been better. That would have been better.
That was what I was going to say, Larson. I do have a bone to pick that you told me to take Clemson without telling me that they have fucking Jordan Belfort at kicker.
Did you even know
Come
that?
on.
No, I didn't.
I don't
didn't
think
know
anybody
that.
knew
I
that.
thought you.
No.
I don't think anybody knew that.
Wow,
No,
Larson,
we
these are the
all
things that
found it out watching
These are the
game
things
day.
that we hire you for. This is your whole point. You're supposed to know the obscure bullshit
I
that's going on in the game.
figured Clemson as a
You
proud program
overlooked.
would have a
You
good kicker.
overlooked.
So I don't know. Either way, I don't feel any different about them than I did last week. I still think Clemson's a good football team. I know that they struggle with Syracuse from time to time. I get it, but Clemson's minus 13 at Duke in week 1. Granted, that was kind of a week 1 line, but Duke is way better than Syracuse. Clemson should win this game, I think, by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to trust
I
Clemson.
think we finally get one right on Clemson. I think they dominate
to.
this game. Let's go UAB Tulane. Nothing.
Hey, pass.
James Madison and South Alabama. Shout out South Alabama for just
Those have
being
been 2 of my
solid.
G5 wagons this year. South Alabama actually lost outright, I think, to Central Michigan last week. I didn't bet them, but
They
they had a
did.
weird game. I think they threw like 2 pick sixes, maybe. It was a strange game. JMU is a wagon, but I hate to see these two titans of my account balance going at it. So I'll just leave this one alone.
I'll take the Jags again. I can't stop betting South Alabama. Last week was really weird. They actually should have won the game. They were one play away from winning the game. They had a stupid, unsportsmanlike conduct flag on the 4th down. Gave Central Michigan a touchdown. JMU gave up 500 yards of offense to Utah State, and Utah State's horrible. And JMU had 5 turnovers. They somehow won the game. You look at the box score, you thought JMU would have gotten killed. I know the ceiling on South Alabama. I'm going to give them a pass for last week. Their ceiling is super high. I'm going to expect them to bounce back. This is a big game.
This is kind of a juicy noon slate, honestly, all the way around, especially with Colorado, USC, Clemson, Syracuse. And you get Florida and Kentucky.
Yeah.
And this is a game that Florida loves to lose.
Recently, yeah.
I'm going to say Larson just piped up like he has something to say about Buffalo and Akron. Do you have a pick for Buffalo and Akron?
Did we mention? I mean, I was leaning Akron. I have Akron on my list.
I was going to go back to it. I just wanted to talk Florida first.
No,
That's fine.
It'll be a game time decision. It could be on the tweet. You could see Akron -2.5 on the tweet on Saturday.
I'm tempted to take Florida here, especially as an underdog. It is at Kentucky, and this could just be a spot where Florida falls flat on their face. I do think Kentucky is probably the second best team in the East, but if Florida wins this game, I mean, I think if Florida wins this game, they'll be 6-1 going into the cocktail party, which is
okay.
It seems like you're rooting for that more than you actually think Florida covers here. That's what that explanation just like. That's what I got from your explanation.
No, I'm saying if they beat Kentucky, they could beat the rest of the team.
I got Kentucky -1.5.
I think Kentucky wins.
Team plays a similar brand to Utah with a quarterback. It's at home. They're going to win this game by double digits. Billy Napier is still a joke. You saw what they did against Charlotte. Fade the Gators as much as you possibly can, and you'll win money. Come on, this is an easy bet.
Possible under. I know it's low, but this is usually kind of pretty low and close.
I saw someone talking about Graham Mertz, and they were like, "Oh my God, Graham Mertz has been really good." And then it's like he has 4 TDs and 1 pick in 4 games. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Shut the fuck up." Graham Mertz is a scrub. The Florida Gators suck. All right, give me Kentucky. Utah State and Connecticut.
UConn is just so disappointing this year. They kind of look like they were turned a corner last year. Now they're 6-point dogs to Utah State. Just sad.
Horrible.
Jim Mora, the fighting Jim Moras. Go Falcons. Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan. Oh my God, a battle of the Michigans, but not the real Michigan.
Pass.
Boston College and UVA and the
I'd be tempted.
2 o'clock ACC game.
I'd be tempted to go Virginia here. Boston College does not look good. They're getting a lot of public support. Virginia has not won a game yet, but they've been getting close. They're edging on winning a game. Last week they could have beat NC State, I believe, in Raleigh. But yeah, Boston College hasn't looked great this year. This is a game they should win, but I wouldn't be shocked if I turned on the TV and Virginia had won this game. Not betting it though. These are two disgusting teams.
This is the kind of game that's on Bally Sports, and Bob Rathburn is there calling it.
Yeah, what's the ACC games on the CW? What was it, Raycom or whatever?
Oh,
yeah,
it's one of those games.
I have Virginia under 2.5 ACC wins, which if that does not hit, I might have to retire. They cannot win this game. Please don't win this game.
They haven't won a game all year, bro. What are you talking about?
Miami,
Miami,
they win this
Kent
bad
State.
start.
Miami of Ohio and Kent State. No thanks.
Arizona State and Cal. God, that should be fun. For no one. Indiana and Maryland. Maryland's kind of in a wagon.
I'm tempted to take Maryland here. Me and Larson were on the Maryland win total before this year started, and I think it was 5.5 or 6 even. And if they win this game, they're going to be 5-0 going to Ohio State, I believe. And so then you just got to get one more out of them. And they still got like Nebraska on the schedule. So yeah.
Maryland is like the Big Ten version of Ole Miss, but like a little bit worse. They always start off like 5-0, and then they just
Syracuse, Maryland, kind of the same team.
They get their ass kicked by all the good teams.
I was going to say, this is the year. If there's a year for them to make noise and maybe go keep it close with Ohio State, do it this year.
Yeah.
Come on.
Michigan and Nebraska. Michigan only getting 17 points.
Yeah, I got Michigan in this game.
That's
I don't feel good about it, but here's my logic. Here's how I've talked myself into this. Number one, Nebraska is awful. Let's get that out of the way. Number two, I think Michigan and Georgia are suffering from the same thing right now, is the fact that both of them are 0-4 against the spread. And I feel like Vegas is like, all right, we got to start chopping down these spreads a little bit. And maybe this is the week you pounce on it and get good value on Michigan. Michigan good, Nebraska bad. That's all I got for you.
I think I like the under here. I think it's a very similar game to Penn State, Iowa last week. Jake's right. Nebraska stinks. Michigan is much better. I could see them winning like 21-3 or something like that. They cover, but Yeah, I think this is going to be a slot fest.
I got a really weird feeling that Nebraska almost upset Michigan this week. I just got a weird feeling that Nebraska not only keeps this close, like I think they're like in it in the fourth quarter.
I mean, I don't not believe in Matt Rule, but I don't believe in the 2023 Nebraska Cornhuskers. I just don't.
Michigan's a very slow team. They're one of the slowest teams in the country on offense. So the clock will be running.
Yeah.
I just got a weird feeling.
You could count on a Nebraska turnover or two.
Yes, that's why you can't bet Nebraska here, even if
I could not. I'm gonna go.
Okay,
I think I'm gonna bet
guess
this
what?
under.
I'm gonna take Nebraska. Plus 17, baby. Give it to me. I think Nebraska. You know what? Fuck it. Nebraska upsets Michigan.
Nebraska money line.
We get them out of here.
That
Georgia
would
Tech and
be
Bowling.
chaos. So I have won a lot of money on Tech this year, and though they're only 2-2 against the spread, I've had a lot of luck with first half Tech. I mean, again, I'm going to be singing his praises until he gets stomped out by Georgia at the end of the year. But Brent Key, I love the guy. I mean, I say it time and time again, nobody wants to fucking coach that team other than alumni, and I think they got their guy. Listen, is he going to bring it back to the 90s? Probably not. But they're relevant again. And I'm going to take him again. Bowling Green stinks. Bowling Green is a bad football team. So I'm taking them. I see it 22. I think they win by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
We got one of my favorite games of the week coming up, Kansas and Texas. Texas, huge favorites at home. I hate that Kansas is like a public dog, darling right now because I love the Jayhawks. So I'm going to – I don't know.
Careful here, too, because Texas does go to Oklahoma next week. That's something to keep in mind.
I love Kansas.
Well, not
here.
to Oklahoma, but you get the point.
I love Kansas here, but I don't know why the public is so high on them. I guess they just – I don't know.
I would love for Kansas to not be in the top 25 right now, like just barely outside of the top 25. This would make this so much more appealing. But yeah, careful here with Oklahoma coming up. I know Texas, this is definitely a look-ahead spot for them.
I'm excited to watch that game, though, period.
It should be a fun game. It has a chance to be a really good color game. Kansas beat BYU by 11 last week, but they had 2 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
It was a little closer than the score implied. Could have been a look ahead, though, possibly.
Texas Tech and Houston. Texas Tech, they might be the most disappointing team.
Such a disappointment.
Real.
Well,
Yeah.
they lost their quarterback last week, and their backup is not good. So I'd be tempted to lay the points on Houston here. I'm just going to stay away.
Baylor and UCF.
Yeah, so y'all can go ahead if y'all have anything. I'm just going to talk shit about Baylor. I love Dave Aranda and just want him to do well. I think the guy hasn't covered a goddamn game yet. UCF and that, fake natty bullshit. I think UCF covers here because I think Baylor's just bad. Like, they lost their quarterback and they've given up on the season, it seems like. They literally just quit, which is crazy from a Dave Aranda team. I love Dave Aranda. I hope, I want him to succeed. But the Baylor Bears, who have been in each of the past 2 Pac-12, conversations, just giving up on the season. I'm not going to bet this, but if I were, it'd be UCF to cover.
Arkansas State and Massachusetts. Arkansas State fighting back after losing 73-0 against
Weird
Oklahoma.
game. What a weird game. That's all I got on this one.
I don't have anything either. Navy and USF.
Would love a USF win here because me and Larson were on the USF over 3.5 wins. They're already at 2.
Please.
Yeah, would love this
It'd
one.
be huge.
Old Dominion and Marshall.
Marshall, good team this year. Larson, remember when we were talking about this earlier in the year? I can't remember. It may have been the ACC picks, but we were talking. I was like, I think Marshall has like a 7.5 or 6.5 win total, and they're 3-0.
We were like, they could be if they beat Virginia Tech, which they did.
Yeah,
more convincingly than the 7-point score indicated. Yeah, we were like, they could be like 4 or 5-0, make some noise.
Ball State and Western Michigan.
Ew, actually, gross.
NIU and Toledo.
That game belongs on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, literally.
So does this one.
Okay, cool. So nothing. All right, we get to my favorite game of the week, Georgia versus Auburn. This line is going down despite Georgia getting public money. I am going to hop on and eat the cheese. Georgia is going to beat Auburn by 4 scores.
I have a few plays for this. My first one is under 10 for the first quarter combined. And then I got Auburn plus 7.5 for the first half. I think maybe this is like a 10-3 situation at half, something like that. But the fact of the matter is, one of the craziest statistics I've heard all season. Auburn has not thrown for 100 passing yards against a Power 5 opponent since October of last year. Not 200, 100. Three digits. They cannot throw it. They cannot complete a downfield pass. Like, it's
200
ridiculous.
is 3 digits as well. Jordan
No,
Hare.
but that's what I'm saying. No, you misheard me. So that's
No.
the thing. It's like you
No,
can
I
talk
got
about
it
this.
right.
No, you could talk about like the Jordan Hare magic. You can talk about all that bullshit. At the end of the day, Kirby Smart has owned Auburn. Auburn has beaten Georgia 3 times in the past 20 years. I don't expect that to be any different. Hugh Freeze will probably bust out a trick play and get an early score. I think it'll be somewhat close at first, and then Georgia's going to pull away.
The only way Auburn doesn't cover, I'm on UGA 14. The only way Auburn does cover is what you just said. Some special teams magic, whether it be, they, instead of kicking a field goal, they get a first down and then they go down to score a touchdown or something like that. I mean, if we're just playing lineup football like Auburn did with A&M last week, yeah, Georgia wins.
The only reason Auburn,
I mean, this should be ugly.
The only reason Auburn was in that game at all is because Texas A&M was just consistently shooting themselves in the foot with penalties, stupid mistakes. And if Georgia just limits mistakes, plays mistake-free football, they'll cover this game easily. But that's not a good
I don't know what this line is, guys. I don't know why we're even
It's
talking about this.
14.
They're going to absolutely shit on Auburn. Auburn is so damn bad. They are so bad offensively. They got the ball.
UGA's – go ahead, sorry.
They got the ball at the 50-yard line like 6 times against Texas A&M and couldn't get a first down to get a damn point. Like, Georgia is going to massacre them, and they're going to get so many possessions that unless Georgia's offense is literally the worst offense in all of football, like Texas A&M was terrible, and they still won by 17. I know they were at home, but it's
Two
a joke.
things. UAB made UGA's defense last week look pedestrian. If you don't think Kirby Smart's getting in their asses, that was the worst I've seen a Kirby
Also,
Smart's defense
Georgia
play.
was probably missing 20 contributors. They got a couple guys coming back this week too.
Yeah, I mean, that defensive showing last week against UAB was absolutely pathetic. If you don't think that they're going to be up for this game, I don't care about Hugh Freeze. Auburn has no hype, whatever it is. Kirby Smart's been in this game. He knows it better than anybody. He is going to have that defense ready to go. And to Chase's point, Georgia's going to have so many possessions that they literally they could score on 5 of the possessions and still cover. That's how bad Auburn is. They looked fucking pathetic against
the biggest key to this game is that Javon Bullard is expected to play, and Javon Bullard is the vocal leader on that defense, and that's probably why Georgia has looked so lackluster, because he played in the first game and then he got hurt and he's been out ever since.
UGA's offense also looked better than it had all season last week against UAB.
Michael Williams,
was good.
He had a great game. Michael Williams should be back as well. Like, dude, Georgia legitimately is missing 20 guys who play.
They haven't played
it's
a complete game yet, and they still don't have to do it this week to cover. That's how bad Auburn is.
I mean, they're going to kill Auburn. I just can't get over. Fuck whatever UGA is. Auburn's so fucking bad that it makes me sick. It makes me sick to watch.
Georgia's just got to show me in the first half. I took Auburn first half because I need Georgia to show me.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Georgia's going to be up by 3 scores at halftime. Illinois and Purdue.
This is I'm just seeing this game for the first time. I don't know how this registered with me, but Illinois +1 is a tempting play. Purdue is awful. I don't know if you guys watched that Wisconsin game, but they are anemic on offense.
Yeah.
I had Purdue as a lock. Very disappointing. Started off the week right. It's all right. We bounced back. Vanderbilt, Missouri.
I have Missouri -13 in this game. It's just I'm still fading Vandy, man. Still doing it. Hasn't bit me yet. I'm still fading Vandy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Missouri too. Missouri might only score 17 or 8 to 21 points, but I don't think Missouri's going to score at all, or Vandy's going to score at all.
I believe Luther Burden and Brady Cook are questionable for this game.
That's worth monitoring, but still, dude, Missouri just lost outright to UNLV.
Yes.
What?
Oh my God. They lost to UNLV like 2 weeks ago. Like 40 to 37.
No, Vanderbilt. I thought you said Missouri. I said what?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, I was like, Jesus. I was like, no, they didn't.
Actually, speaking of
Missouri does play LSU, and I know a lot of people I've seen on Twitter, like they've been all over, like, oh, LSU's coming to town. Like they're pissed about it being an 11 o'clock start. I know they're looking forward to that game. That's about the only reason that would prevent me from thinking that Missouri doesn't blow this team out of the water. But yeah, Vandy is brutal. I will also be taking Missouri -13.5. Because I want them to win and look good before the LSU game anyways.
0-5 against the spread. Have not covered all year.
This is the game they randomly win. Boise. I just said Bazoo as in BSU. Boise State and Memphis.
This is a perfect lead-in because this is my favorite play of the week. I got I'm doing what you're doing now. I got Memphis -2.5 early. Memphis has a very explosive passing offense. They could have beat Missouri last week. They were bucking with Missouri. Boise State's pass defense is one of the worst in the entire country. Their quarterback is not good at all. This game is in Memphis. I think Memphis is probably one of the 3 or 5 best G5 teams. We took their win total before the year. I'm all over Memphis on this one. I think they kill Boise State.
I 100% agree. Yeah, this is also huge because I took Boise's win total under and I took Memphis over.
Yes,
So I already need Memphis. I agree with what Jake said though. The Boise defense looks very bad, and they have not looked good in any of their games. Like even North Dakota, they struggled early with. South Dakota State's horrible, or San Diego State's horrible. Boise, it took them a little bit to get going. And now they make a long trip to Memphis. I think Memphis, like Jake said, they were in the game last week. So
Yeah, I actually thought they were going to beat Missouri straight up. I had them in my locks. They didn't get it done.
Yeah.
Also,
they opened as an underdog, which was
UNLV and Hawaii.
Oh, the battle of the teams that have beat Vanderbilt this year. Pass.
Dude,
UNLV is
4-0.
4-0. Yeah,
That's
that's
just red.
in Vegas. I think not. I think a coincidence. I think not.
Wyoming and New Mexico. Wyoming's been good to us, boys.
They're our Cowboys, man. Dude, that was electric last week. I mean, we needed the win for the win total more than anything. Absolutely electric against App State, blocking a field goal and taking it back with like 2 minutes left to win it.
Michigan fans rejoiced.
It's Wyoming's first. I think it was like their first blocked field goal for a touchdown in school history or something, which is crazy.
That's wild.
Needed it, though.
Yeah, but Wyoming, good football team, could be 4-0 with a win against Texas right now.
They should have beaten Texas.
Yeah.
LSU and Ole Miss, baby. Give me the Tigers.
Lane Kiffin, still do not think he's beat an SEC team that's finished above 500.
Give me the
do that what
Tigers.
you will.
I just do not give a shit. Tigers all day.
I'm going to stay away from this one, but I'll give my 2 cents on the
Pussy.
situation.
We'll see.
If this game was, I'll probably end up betting it, but I'm not going to tell the good people
You definitely already
that
have.
are listening. I'm just betting them out of my heart. If this game was in Tiger Stadium, it would be a similar line as we saw last week against Bama. I was all over Bama. Though Bama and LSU are built very differently, Bama's defense is absolutely for real, but can't score. LSU can score with anybody in the country, but can't stop a nosebleed. I don't know what gives this week. To me, I see the over has jumped up considerably. 4 points I see. I still would probably lean to the over. LSU secondary might be the worst in the country. Even with Greg Brooks, it was
Major
terrible.
Burns.
Now he's out. Major Burns, I mean, all that guy does is he's a 90 safety. He's just looking to take somebody's head off, doesn't give a fuck about coverage. I mean, LSU secondary is absolutely garbage. Whether Ole Miss can take advantage of that, I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. LSU is going to score some points on that Ole Miss defense. I don't know what LSU's team total is, but if I had
34.5. I was already
44.5?
34.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. I think I'm going to take that.
Tigers, money line. Oregon and Stanford.
All right, I want to talk about this game for a second. This is my don't overthink it game of the week. And I'm sorry, I know it's a rat line. I don't care. I've watched both of these teams pretty extensively this year. Stanford has lost to Sacramento State. They have lost a football game to a FCS team whose coach they took. Oregon has absolutely demolished everybody. They're 4-0 against the spread. I don't care that it's ratty. I don't care that it's 27 points. I've teased it. I've taken it straight up. Don't overthink it. Oregon -27. They're going to kill these guys.
I couldn't agree more. I'm glad somebody's on the Oregon bandwagon. A cover is a
I'm
cover
betting
is a
the
cover.
same
I
too.
don't even care if it was on an interception pick six. I don't care what it is. A cover is a cover is a cover. And Dan Lanning is a wagon. And so is Bo Nix.
Baby Kirby.
I don't disagree. With those. I think to play devil's advocate, the only thing you would say is Oregon has a bye next week. They've got a bit of a gauntlet coming up. Washington, USC, all that. What do they gain out of beating the shit out of Stanford? Is it maybe an Oregon first half bet?
I was going to say they do. They also just had a very emotional game last week. That's something to consider. But when you look at these two teams, like Oregon is on their worst day, they're 27 points better than these guys.
Probably so.
I'm on Oregon. I don't give a shit about the spot.
I don't care if it's square. Yeah, I'm not going to overthink this one.
Oklahoma and Iowa State.
Litmus. This is going to be my official. Let's see what Oregon's really made of here. If they're 4-0 against the spread, if they cover this game, I'll be a little more like, I'll feel them a little bit more. But last week against Cincinnati, got a little sweaty, and I was pretty confident in them last week. I'm going to see what they do here. The under might be a play here too. I can see this being a defensive battle.
So go ahead.
I was going to say they were lucky last week that Emory Jones is horrible.
Yeah,
Because Cincinnati had every opportunity to at least make it a close game.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking about the Sooners all season long, and this is one of the weeks that I don't like this at all. If I was going to bet it, I think I would go Iowa State, but I do like the under. Brent Venables has finally got that Oklahoma.
Brent Vegetables.
Like Venables now. He's 4-0 against the spread. Venables. That defense is for real. Iowa State's offense is just, I don't even have to say it. I really just think 48.5 is a lot of points for them.
That's a healthy number. And Iowa State is
Dylan Gabriel's offensive numbers up to last week were outrageously good, even dating back to last year. So I did think honestly, prior to last week's game, I would have been all over Oklahoma. But like you guys said, Cincinnati, Oklahoma last week gave me some pause. Dylan Gabriel was throwing it all over the yard, and then they just stopped. I don't really know how to play this, but I think I would play Iowa State.
I just cannot.
Oklahoma's not a good team. They're gonna end up 6-6 against the spread. So fade Oklahoma when they get to good teams.
Do y'all think Iowa State wishes Matt Campbell had left a year ago or 2 years ago?
yes.
That's just interesting that he was up for Notre Dame and all those great jobs, and he stayed. And it's like, he's actually not that good of a coach.
It's kind of like almost like a compliment to Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was carrying this guy apparently.
Brees Hall.
Yeah.
Rice and Eastern Carolina,
No.
Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina.
I've been making a living off Georgia Southern. They're 3-0-1. Well, 3-1 for me against the spread because they did not cover against Wisconsin for me. But I'd be careful here. There's a lot of smart people on Coastal, and I watched Coastal against Georgia State. They look pathetic, but this one's giving me pause. I don't know. I feel like Georgia Southern's crowd will be raucous, so maybe lay a touchdown with the Eagles.
I did.
How did they push that
Not a lock
Wisconsin
yet.
game?
It's what?
How did they push that Wisconsin game?
That's just what this site says. I do not think they pushed that Wisconsin game.
They lost big.
No, but they were huge underdogs in that. It did end up being a push.
What was it?
Yeah,
It wasn't for me.
My friend had it.
It wasn't for me. It definitely wasn't. Whatever it was on my book.
This
Regardless, it'd be good against the spread.
Yeah, I did bet them -6 a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to put it as a lock yet, but they are playing really well and they're scoring a lot of points. And Coastal does not have the same look and feel to them that they usually do. They're usually a proud program, as we like to say, but I'm not seeing it. So
some are calling Grayson McCall a Jamie Chadwell merchant. I'm not calling him that, but some people.
The streets are saying.
Yeah.
Troy and Georgia State.
Georgia State's kind of a wagon, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, hilarious that they're good this year now after we tried to bet them 5 different times last year.
Yeah, they just couldn't get it. They just could never get it.
Texas State and Southern Miss.
No.
Okay, Notre Dame and Duke.
This is actually the rat bet that I should be worried about. I will be taking Duke at home. I just think they're good. I think this is kind of a thing where people are going to say this is a rat line. Oh, Notre Dame's still Notre Dame. Duke is still Duke. I kind of really don't think that way. But the problem is that Notre Dame just came off a really heartbreaking loss, and they could come out and just thrash them. But the thing is, I've watched Duke plenty this year. I don't think that they're just lucking through all these games. I think they're a well-coached football team. They tackle well. They cover kicks. They do those small things right, and I think that can keep you in a game with a team that's really physical like Notre Dame.
They got a good quarterback, too. He is a good
We've talked about Riley Leonard for a year or two now.
He is a gamer. He is a
first-round
gamer.
talent.
He's the kind of guy who's not going to get any hype, but just kind of stack wins quietly. He doesn't have the crazy arms, not going to have the gaudy numbers, but just knows how to win football games, and that goes a long way. That goes a long way. I like Duke as well.
I think Duke's the play in this game. I mean, Duke's got a good football team. That place is going to be rocking. It's also not a place that it's kind of a sleepy place for you to travel to and have your locker room and everything. It doesn't feel like it's a huge game, but it is a huge game, and it's going to have the atmosphere of a huge game. And I think them coming off that loss to Ohio State doesn't do anything positively for them. I think it makes it that much harder to get up for an opponent like Duke.
Especially how they lost, how Notre Dame lost that game. The players, regardless, most people believe in Marcus Freeman. I certainly do. I'm not saying the players are giving up on the guy, but in the back of your mind, you're like, hey, fuckhead, we had 10 guys out there. What the hell are we doing?
I got to say, hang on. I will
Go
say, as egregious as it was for them to have 10 guys, and I heard Marcus Freeman say they didn't want to get a penalty, and I thought that was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard in my life, considering but if they had ran another guy on the field, he would have been behind the line of scrimmage, and so it would have been an offsides and a free play.
Needed someone to pitch. They needed someone to like shove the other.
Yeah,
guy.
Shove somebody. Yeah, that's what they should have. I mean, they didn't really have any way of doing that, but that makes it a little bit better because I thought at first he was just worried about the illegal substitution.
SMU and Charlotte.
I was going to ask one more thing. If Duke beats Notre Dame, what is their realistic ceiling? What do we talk about with Duke?
Potentially upsetting Florida State in the ACC championship, I'd say.
I mean, I wonder what are the limits? Like at that point, you're 5-0. You beat Clemson and Notre Dame.
I don't think their schedule's too bad after that either. I mean, they do have UNC and Florida State in Tallahassee, but I mean,
yeah,
lose to Florida State regular season and then meet them in the ACC championship in Charlotte. That is a dream season for Duke.
SMU and Charlotte.
Nothing.
I mean, they could still go to the ACC championship. I mean, Notre Dame's not in the ACC. That doesn't count as ACC loss.
And they're in the ACC in every other sport. That's so fucking dumb.
Michigan State at Iowa.
I took under 36 in this game. I know it's so gross, but come on.
That's yucky. You need to wash your hands after taking that. But I think it probably works.
Here's the thing. This game comes on at what time is this game? 7:30. I'm not going to watch it.
You don't have to watch it.
You set it and forget it.
All right, I'm going to do the Cardinal sin. I'm going to lay the points with Iowa in this game. I think which is hard because we got burned last year by the fired coach and then the next week bounce back kind of thing. I just don't think Michigan State can score. They threw out two different quarterbacks last week looking for a jolt and did not get anything against Maryland. Maryland's defense isn't that good. This feels like is this a 21-3 game for Iowa? I think Iowa can score 21. I don't know. It's gross, but I'm going to lay it with Iowa at home at night. I think it's the right bet.
Well, the thing with Michigan State is this is not a typical coaches fired, let's rally around our guy.
Yeah.
This is damn, our coach did that. Like, I'm not too proud of that. You know what? I said it last week or the week whenever they played Washington. These guys are not looking at the playbook, not looking at the scouting report. They're looking at the transfer portal. They're looking at their emails and going, who wants me? They do not give a fuck about Michigan State anymore.
Hey, I got to say, apparently Oregon State just shot to -185 money line. So that leads me to believe Cam Rising is probably not playing.
What is going on with that?
Do not care. Do not care. Utah +3.5. You never fails, baby. Don't back down. South Carolina and Tennessee, give me the Cox.
That is the biggest pass on a game I've ever seen in my entire life. This could go one way or the other. I could see either of these teams winning by 40, and I would not be surprised.
I'm going to lay the points again with Tennessee, which I feel gross about, but Tennessee, I think they exercised their demons last week against UTSA. They had some offensive struggles, and they came back, and they played very well. They had two offensive linemen who were out for the Florida game who are now coming back. That's important. Their defense has sneaky been able to rush the quarterback pretty well, and that's, as we've seen from South Carolina, one of their biggest weaknesses. It's a night game. It's going to be a revenge spot.
Revenge. That's what I'm
going to trust. I hate betting Tennessee just because fuck Tennessee, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to lay the points with them.
My biggest thing is I think these guys are up. And they got a sour taste in their mouth from last year. I mean, they got their asses whipped. They've got to have some sort of pride. Josh Heupel alone's got to have some pride in this one.
Cox +12.5. They could win this game straight up. Pitt and Virginia Tech.
Both these teams are ass.
So Virginia Tech is the right side in this game, and I can't bet that. That's disgusting.
This is the ass bowl. Both of these teams suck.
West Virginia laying 12.5, or not laying 12.5, getting 12.5 against TCU.
Well, clearly I don't know anything about West Virginia because they're 3-1, and I thought Neil Brown would have been fired by now. But I'm good.
I've changed my tune on Neil Brown in West Virginia wholeheartedly. Unlike Michigan State, they are up and they are playing for their coach. They're playing for his job. They know that he's on the hot seat, or at least the warm seat. The Mountaineers have been a wagon this year.
Well, I don't think Michigan State really could play for Mel Tucker's job. I think he was just fired before.
Well, get up for their coach. You know what I mean.
I mentioned last week I thought laying points with TCU against SMU was smart because TCU's been kind of impressive, and they won pretty convincingly. Like I think TCU's kind of looking pretty good. If they didn't have that Colorado game, I mean, which totally changed everyone's perception on them, but they've been playing really well.
They need to change their defense. A 3-3-5 is fucking dumb. I'm sick of a 3-3-5.
App State and ULM.
App State bounce back. Maybe.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that maybe. I don't know. I don't care enough to bet it.
San Diego State and Air Force.
I'm about to make an Air Force an every week thing. I know they're only 2-2 against the spread, but like I just love watching Air Force, man. Those dudes play hard. I like those guys.
I didn't know their coach has been there for 2 decades.
That's
crazy.
Calhoun? Yeah, dude. He's like the longest tenured coach in college football.
That's crazy.
We got a night game full of cowbells at 9:00. Alabama and Mississippi State. Alabama laying 14.5 on the road.
I kind of want to take him, but I still don't trust him all the way.
I mean, if you saw that LSU Mississippi State game, you should be taking Bama. I mean, Mississippi State is a dog. They just have no direction. Zach Arnett's just a placeholder. They have no idea what they're doing. The best thing they have going for them is that fake artificial noise bullshit. I think Bama's defense is legit. They could score 3 times and still cover. That's how good that Bama defense is.
I've bet Mississippi State in this game 3 years in a row, and they've gotten blown out all 3 games. So I'm not going to do that again.
I have Alabama. I think this game's going to be 30-0.
Yeah, it very well could be.
That's how it
Washington and Arizona. Give me the Huskies. They're never losing against the spread this entire year.
I got Washington at -18. I don't care if this is ratty. They have a bye week next week before Oregon, so I'm not worried about a look-ahead spot. Arizona was awful last week. They kind of annoyed me. They've been good against the spread, though, but I'm going to go ahead and say Washington because they just mopped everybody they play.
Love the Huskies.
Yeah.
I
originally liked Arizona. But Jaden Delore is not playing, so scratch that. It's probably
why that spread's jumped in. Yeah,
35.
they're probably going to walk all over them.
All right, final game of the week: Nevada and Fresno State.
Fresno State is a wagon, by the way. They've won like 14 games in a row.
They are a wagon.
Yeah.
Fresno State is a wagon. Except they
And
didn't.
Nevada's pretty bad. I might look to play this, but that's a big number.
Yeah. All right, that wraps it up. Let's make some money. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back. We'll either be licking our wounds or celebrating some wins, but we will be giving picks next week.
I'll have a winning record.
Let's go.